Hey, my Kingdom Scribes. Welcome to the Author's Corner podcast with your favorite writing and book publishing coach, me, Tiffany Dillard. It's been a minute. I've been on a little hiatus. I had to take a little break, had some little things happening, some deaths in the family, but I'm back on the post, back on the wall to continue to share information and to educate you Kingdom Scribes about book publishing, to motivate you, to encourage you to share your story and stand in confidence with your voice. So today we have another author highlight. So, we've had that. I want to say that was in season 2, 3, where we highlighted some authors. So we're coming back with guests, y'all. So you will not just be seeing me by myself all the time. So we're going to have guests this season again. Like I told you, we did last year. And so we want to highlight an author. She is not a New Voice Books own yet, but she is an author and a kingdom scribe that God is using in the earth to stand in confidence behind her voice and to reach out to all who God has called her to be. So today we're going to have a conversation with Stephanie Graves Mumford. She does live in I want to say my hometown, but I don't know how I feel about that. But she she lives in Hawkinsville, Kentucky, a place that I did live one time in my life for a long time in my life. Okay, but we'll talk about that later. But she is from Kentucky, and so I want her to come on and just talk to us about her book, what God is doing in her life, why does she want to write books, because y'all be out here, staying in them corners talking about y'all writing books for 50 years and don't want to do nothing. So we want to share and give y'all more inspiration on why other people are publishing their books like today, not tomorrow, today. Okay. So, Stephanie, introduce yourself to the listeners. Tell them a little bit about the heart about behind your writing, why you started to write, and let us know who you are.
All right, so I am Stephanie Graves Mumford. I have always loved to write. I always told myself from a very young age that I was going to be an author. And I remember writing and reading and saying that I was going to do such. But when my sister passed, that's what really pushed me. And I always said that if I did get the chance to write and to publish books, I always wanted to uplift the kingdom of God, because without God, I don't know where I would be. He is my all in all. And like I said, I am so crazy about the Lord. I love him and I know that he loves me. So I started writing this book, Choose Joy. It was a year before I published. I published in December 2024. And I just mainly wanted to write about hardships in life, because life is really, really hard. It's really rough. And I wanted to write a book that was uplifting the kingdom of God and that would help people, in everyday life get through certain situations and still be able to, in a loss or a death with a family member or something like that, still be able to find the joy in such sadness. And that's exactly what that book is. It is a very uplifting book. It is inspiring to everyone. I talk about how my childhood was. I go on to speak about, relationships and breakups and baby daddies, things that are kind of rough, that you really don't want to talk about, but how I still found joy in that. And then just being able to, I lost a sister. So it's 3 of us. I'm the middle child, and I would call myself the black sheep of the family. So we lost my older sister, Lakeisha, to Ewing sarcoma, and she died at 21. She was really young, but she was an old soul. She helped raise me and my younger sister, and she always taught us about life, and she taught us how to be ladies. And without her, I don't know where I would be without her guidance and everything. And she was like my big inspiration on why I needed to write and why I needed to, spread the word of God. Because at a young age, she taught Wednesday night Bible school at my church. She helped the youth. and I find myself, in her footsteps, like following the same footsteps. So she had a lot to do with, me writing. I told myself that I was going to make a goal. So my goal as an author is to complete and publish 10 books. 2 of those books being children's books, and then the rest of them being like devotionals, inspirational books, things of that nature. So I am doing very well with that goal. It is hard, but with God, I am doing very well. I do have the Choose Joy book with me.
Okay.
And you can, purchase that on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. But yeah, to all the authors out there who feel like they can't do it, you can. Like she said, I'm from Hopkinsville, the Cadiz area, Kentucky, the bluegrass state, and my Cadiz is very small, very, very small. So it's super tiny. So it's a privilege to be able to write and to be able to do it in such a small community, and to be able to watch how it's growing and how many people say, oh, I read your book, I really like your book. Like, it's really uplifting to me when I hear stuff like that, because at the end of the day, I want to remove myself so that God can get the glory for everything that I do.
That's it. That is it. And so tell us about, I mean, like, how much ever you want to share, but tell us about childhood. What did that look like for you? How did you keep the heart of, like you said you told yourself when you was younger you were going to be an author. So what was some things that happened in your life that kept that thought in the forefront, that you're like, you know what, I'm still going to do this. One day I'm going to write about this. Something is going to be done or said in my life that I'm still going to continue to write. Because, when things get hard, you don't really want to talk about that. Like, I wrote my book and it took me forever to write it. I was like, I don't want to go back down them roads. I don't really want to talk about that stuff again. Some stuff I suppressed so deep that I had amnesia. I didn't even remember it until God was like, wow. Let's dig this up, because this is a root. But, and you don't want to deal with all of that. So what were the things, talk about your childhood, and then just the Kentucky life, just talk about, being in Kentucky and how that kind of your life encouraged you to kind of stay on that path to still want to use your voice and not get silent.
So growing up in Kentucky, like I said, it's very small. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody will be in your business. So I always told myself that I am going to be big in this little bitty town. I'm not going to sit back and be silent. I have a big mouth. So I was like, I have to use it for something other than talking back to my parents and being sassy. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. And a lot of things in my childhood that had happened, like, I always kind of felt like my mom, I felt like she favored my other 2 siblings more than me. And I also kind of felt like she loved me, but she loved me in a different way. So growing up, I did therapy. And, in therapy, most of the time they have you write. Yeah. So writing is healing for me. Like, that's my therapy. So being able to write out, yes, it's hard and you got to go through it again. And yes, you're going to cry and all that stuff. But when I'm done doing that, like when I was done writing, it made me feel so relieved, because like certain things I want to say to people, they are like my therapist now. I love her so much. She's so sweet. And I don't even know how she deals with me sometimes. But she was just like, you always need to write things down and then go back and read it, because certain things you want to say in the moment to someone is not what you really need to say to them. Right. So writing has just always been able to heal my mind, heal my anger, because I really don't know why, but I grew up so angry. Like, if I go back and think about it, I really didn't have a reason to be so angry, but I was always on the edge. I was always that child that was like, ooh, like I always wanted to like blow up and get so mad about the littlest thing. So writing really, really helped me control that. It helped me. And I told myself, I have to use my voice, not only just, like I said, to be sassy or to talk back, but I have to use it in a positive way. And you have to make sure that, you know, you're speaking things of positivity and things that are uplifting, because nobody wants to hear anything else. It's too hard out here, you know. People want to hear things that are uplifting. And if I'm going to speak, I'm going to do everything I can to direct someone to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because that is the only way. That's all I know. So
yeah, he's the way. I mean,
yes, he definitely
he's
is
the only way. I mean, you really can't go wrong with God.
Oh,
Now, I'm not
no.
gonna say it. Now, let me just say this, because people be thinking, "Oh, when I'm over here with God, it's supposed to be easy." No, he don't. He didn't say that. Like, one thing about God is everything is upfront.
Right.
He don't sugarcoat nothing. Nothing is like a clause and it's like real fine, small print. Like, no, it's in big print, big bold print, and he's like, yeah, you're gonna have trials and tribulations while you here. You in a
Right.
fallen world. Like, let's just be real.
That's
But
me.
I've overcome it. So you good. But I'm not going
Right.
to say that I'm going to shield you from every trial and tribulation, because some of that needs to carve you. It needs to refine you. It needs to shape you. It needs to press you, because we can't have this oil that everybody wants unless you go through the press. Like, people want to get the oil without the pressing. And if you
Right.
got somebody that's walking around here like, well, I ain't never been through nothing, but I'm anointed. Oh, okay. Okay.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Right.
And you might want to ask God to activate that discernment in you to make sure that who you listening to over here that ain't been through nothing, but they anointed, they got all this oil. Then you might want to check, make sure whoever's
Right.
speaking through them or to them. Okay. Because we be out here really
Right.
wanting the finished product, but we don't want to go through the process. And if God's children, his original, the children of Israel, if they had to go through the process, why do you think that he don't get to us and skip it and say, well, no,
Right.
no,
You're
you ain't got to go through
exactly
that. Just
right.
go on. Like, no, you got to go through the process. And that's the same thing when it comes to like your book. Like, I have a lot of people that have come to me and be like, what do you think about AI? What you think about it? And I'm like,
So,
well, why? You know, why would you want to write a book through AI? Now,
right.
now, don't get me wrong. AI is not a bad tool, but
Right.
it is not a tool to write your book, because then AI wrote your book, not you.
Right.
How are they going to relate to you as an author when AI wrote your book? So then you at a book sign and they like, oh, what? Remember what you said in chapter 5? Oh, well, what did I say? Because AI wrote your book, you didn't write it, and nobody's going to go through and read. Like, come on, unless you're a reader. But if you have been working on this book and doing all that, once it's done, it's done. You got 100-some page book, you're gonna go through it line by line by line. I mean, let's be real. You're not. Once it's done, you're like, oh, I'm done, and you're gonna
Yes.
pass it on. But you are not relating to your authors. So, what was your process like when it came to writing your book? What did that look like for you day to day?
So I don't know how many other authors do this, but I really enjoyed webbing. Like, I webbed at first. First, I came up with so many titles, and I had 10, and then I had to like narrow them down, and I finally got to my last two, and then I finally picked Choose Joy, just because I feel like it really related to the series of things that I wanted to discuss and what I wanted to talk about. And then after that, which you have like your introduction and, you know, acknowledgments and all those things, I even webbed those out too, because when you come to, like, it's really kind of hard trying to focus your mind and wrap your mind around all those different things that you want to do and you want to say. So then it became really difficult when you had to start picking chapters. I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm gonna call this or what I'm gonna call that. So I talked to a lot of people in my family, and they helped me come up with like chapters. Like, I would tell them like, hey, this is what I'm gonna write about. Can you help me pick like a really good chapter title? And then they would name off stuff, and then I would be writing as they're naming off stuff, and then we would just like collab and put stuff together. I'm like, that's it, you know. So I had a lot of help from family and friends. I spent countless hours up, because I worked with this lady named Miss Asia Blue. She's great. She's out of New York, and I had deadlines for stuff. So like, it was that's what really got me was the deadlines. I was like, man, I feel like I'm in college again, because you have to set deadlines for yourself, because if not, you will push it back further and further and further. You have to treat it like a baby. And that's really what I did. I still made time to take care of my children, to take care of home and work, but I also considered this as my work, because being an author is joy to me. It's what I really love to do, and hopefully someday it will be all that I do. I really want to, someday be able to just work on my business and take care of my children and my family. But I treated it just like a baby. I did everything I needed to do, and I set out time of the day, however many hours I needed to in a day, every day, to make sure I worked on whatever was due. So I would say it took me about a month to do chapter 1, because like I said, every single day I set aside time to do what I needed to do to get it done, because I was like, nope, I have to do this. And with Miss Azure, what we did was we met on the Zoom, we talked, and we set like a goal for ourselves. Like, okay, when do you want this book to be published by? So then we talked about it, and I ended up picking December. So before December got here, we already had to have everything rolled up, everything done. It had to already gone through the final stages. And that's what we did. She kept me on point. She kept me where I needed to go. And also prayer, because I'm telling you, with 2 little ones running around and you're trying to do this and that, it's hard. It's really, really hard. But I prayed, and I was like, Lord, if this is in your will, please help me to stay focused and get this done. And he did that. He really did. So webbing will be the best thing. That's just what helped me.
Yeah, I've talked about brainstorming because that's one thing that I did when I wrote my book, and I always kept a journal or a little tablet or something so I could just write stuff down as I was going throughout my day, because I would have thoughts come to my mind and then it'll just flow. Or God would be like, okay, I want you to write this, and then he'll flow, and I have to just start
Writing
jotting
it
it down
down.
so that way all I came back to do to him in my writing schedule time was just plug it in of where it
That's
needs to
good.
go. So it was like a puzzle with me. But I love what you said, because these are the things that I be talking about. Like, people, I be trying to tell people you have to have a writing schedule. You have to
Yes.
understand your process when it comes to writing. Like, everybody's process is not the same. Everybody doesn't do anything the same. And it may be the same thing, but people are calling it differently, a different name, but it's still the same thing.
Right.
And it's being consistent, and then having that accountability partner, because you can have some. I always test my clients when they say, well, I got somebody that's holding me accountable. When was the last time they checked in with you? And
Right.
they be like, that's not your accountability partner. Put them back over in the friend zone, because they're not an accountability partner.
Exactly.
Because if they haven't checked in on with you, and you don't remember when, you can't even think of when, because accountability partner, you should be able to know, oh yeah, we just talked last week, or we just talked 2 weeks ago, or just an hour ago. Like, if somebody's just holding you accountable, they're going to be on you, especially when it comes to a project. And I'm
Right.
that same way. I like to have stuff done, because when it comes down to book release day, it's just promotion. I'm coaching you on promotion and marketing at that point. Like, what you
Right.
talking about? You got your conversations ready. If somebody call you for an interview today, you know what you're going to talk about. Like, what's happening? Let's because some people get behind the book, get done with the book, and get behind the book, and like, well,
Mm-hmm.
no, I don't have anything else to say. You have a lot to say. You have
Right.
a lot to say. That
Right.
book is not the end. You have a lot to say. It's just the key. It's just a business card to say, hey, I'm an author. But
Right.
if they ask you to speak, if speaking is not just on the stage. Sometimes it'll be on a podcast, or it'll just be doing an interview, whether it's in a magazine. I've done it, all those avenues. And it's like, you always got to have a conversation, because
Right.
somebody is always asking for a narrative. So when it comes to your narrative pertaining to choosing joy, and I know you talked about that earlier, about like how there were hardships and there were things that happened in your life, but in the midst of it all, you had to continue to see the joy. What was it that you were able to, like, how did you see the joy? Like, I know God is there, but
Right.
sometimes God will show us something and we're like, I still don't see it. And he's like, it's right there, like right in front of you. But what was it for you inside of you that were like, okay, God, you keep bringing up these joyous moments. You keep showing me the light in the midst of the darkness. What was it in you that was like, what, I can come into agreement with what you're showing me, so that way I can birth out choosing joy?
So the first time I really even acknowledged um choosing joy and realizing what God was doing in my life was with my sister's death.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really, really hard time in my life, and it took me down a really dark road. I chose a lot of other things as to dealing with grief, and a lot of people, they don't really know a lot about me because I'm so closed in. But I mean, I've chose alcohol. I've chose other things other than, staying on the road of Christ. And I was so mad at God. I was so upset. And I said, God, why are you doing this to me? Why would you do this to my family? Like, why would you take my sister? She's so young. And I just did not understand. I mean, I'm telling you, I walked around so pitiful for years. I was so saddened inside. And then I finally come to realize, because my sister did everything for me. She literally did. I'm telling you, she drove me and my younger sister around. I mean, I'm telling you, we had the latest clothes, the latest shoes, the nice book bags and lunch boxes. I mean, she fed us, clothed us, did our hair. She kept our nails done. I mean, I could never ask for a better big sister. She was amazing. But I feel like in that moment, I knew my sister was tired. I mean, that was one of the hardest things growing up, was seeing a cancer patient moan and groan because there's nothing else they can do. Like, it was nothing else they could do. No more medicine, no more nothing. I mean, she was hurting so bad. And I realized I was being so selfish because my sister was hurt. Like, and a lot of people wouldn't even know she had cancer. I mean, this lady will walk around with the latest wig on, the nicest Gucci bags. I mean, I'm telling you, like, you would never, and all she did was speak life into you. I'm telling you, everybody that knows my sister, that knows Lakeisha Graves, they could only tell you good stuff about this lady because you never, ever seen her down, crying, sick, none of that. She never let none of that show. But after my sister's death, and I went through therapy, and I was able to come at means with things, and I say found God again, but I don't even like when people say that, because you just get astray. Like, I had a little setback, but then, coming back to the word and really diving deep into the word, I realized things had to be that way because I was able to start doing things for myself. And I was able to form a better relationship with God, a more intimate relationship with God. And that's when I knew, like, everything that you go through, it's gonna be a lesson to you, and you're gonna be able to talk about it to help someone else get through what you've been through. And I, like, people would tell me that all the time, and I'm like, yeah, you ain't lose a sister. I was just one of them bitter grief people, like, whatever, you don't know what it feel like, But whenever I was traveling, I ran into a lady who lost a sibling to the same cancer. They were similar in age, and she reminded me of myself. She reminded me of myself. And something would not let me leave that gas station. I said, Lord, I got to go back in here. Because, I mean, I'm telling you, I get, when you have a close relationship with God, He really, really speaks to you. And I'm telling you, I could not drive off. I said, I have to go back in there and check on that lady. And they're just like, you don't even know that lady. Oh, you better be quiet. I got to go back in here. So I went in there and I just said, ma'am, I don't know what you're going through, but I want you to know that it's going to be okay. And that's when she went into telling me that she lost her sister due to cancer, same cancer. And she said she did everything for me. And I just started crying, and I hugged that lady so tight. And I said, I literally just went through the same thing a few years ago. And she said, no way. And I said, I did. And she said, were you close with your sibling? I said, yes, ma'am. I lived with her my whole life. And I said, she was like my mother, but I was able to, help her during that time. Like we exchanged numbers. I was able to like help her get some therapy and, just share with her similar things that I did. And that's when I knew like it is a reason for everything that you go through. And even during my sister's death, it took me years, but I finally am able to talk about my sister's death and still choose joy. Like my sister is no longer on this earth hurting. She is with God. She is resting. And everything that she taught me on up to this point is things that I can share with.
Hey, Kingdom Scribe. I think you're trying to figure out how to get your book published, right? You're kind of trying to figure out all the things. Well, let New Voice Books help you. Go to our website, nvpublishingco.com. There you will find all of the services that we provide for book publishing. You can schedule a one-on-one coaching call with myself. If you just want to ask questions, you want to get a better understanding of something, we also have a Kingdom Scribe mentorship program that will take you from A to Z when it comes to book publishing and all of the other things that you will need along the way. So you don't have to sit there and try to figure out how you're going to do this. Just go to nvpublishingco.com and New Voice Books will be glad to serve you in excellence and help you publish your book so that way it can change the world. Be blessed.
With other people, and that I'm going to share with other people, because she didn't just teach them to me for me just to hide them away and not help anybody else. That's what she did. And if we go back to the word, just like Jesus, I don't recall in the Bible where Jesus was doing things for himself. Everything that Jesus done was for other people, healing the blind, feeding the hungry. All of these things that he did was for other people. It's our duty on this earth to help others. It's not our duty to, oh, I need me time. Oh, I need a me day. No. What can we do to help other people every day? What can we do to uplift others or spread the word of Jesus every day? So, my sister's death really influenced me and helped me choose joy in not just one situation, but every situation.
That's good. That's good. And yeah, Jesus said he came to earth not to be served, but to
That's
serve.
right. That's
And
right.
that's what he's an example of. And yeah, he took his time. He had to step away sometimes, but he still came to serve the people and to bring order and even to disrupt. And even if that disruption, like you said, you had a disruption in your life that happened with your sister passing, but it was also a disruption to disrupt some things in you to get you where you needed to be. Because even though we have people in our lives and we love them and they're like leading the charge, but God is like, but I created you with purpose as well too.
That's right.
And one thing God told me, he was, he's kind of working with me on my identity because that's where the enemy has attacked me in my life. And he's like, I need you to know that everybody I created has purpose. I created everybody with a purpose. Nobody is just here just to be here. They
Right.
wouldn't be here if that was the case. He was like, I just don't do things just to do it.
Right.
Like, you got purpose, this person just here randomly walking around. No, he said, that's not who I am.
That's
And we all have to have a purpose. We all have a purpose to do something. It may be in a different way. It may be in the same way. We may be doing the same thing. One thing that for me is like my book is about domestic violence. So I was like, you know what? There's no way that I'm going to talk about domestic violence. It has a whole month. What else can I say? And God was like, but they don't know your story.
right.
They don't know me as a deliverer. They don't know me as a healer. They don't know me as a person that even in the midst of you and your pain, I still had to correct you too, because there were some things that you ignored that I gave
Right.
you warning on. And sometimes, we'll walk through life and we be thinking they did everything to me, and God be like, no, 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 you had a part to
Yeah.
it. So no, let's bring that back. Yeah, I'm gonna hold them accountable for what they did, but I gotta hold you accountable for your part too. And
Mm-hmm.
those were the things that I had to write about because I did. I ignored the red flags because I was trying to prove to the world that I was in control.
Right.
And I was really putting myself in a place where it was going to be out of control. And so I love that how you're like, yeah, my life was disrupted. I didn't like it. I was mad. I was angry at God because it takes people a long time just to admit I'm angry with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I had to, tell God myself. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna stay over here by myself. He's like, that's cool. I'm gonna be here. But and he that was a way of him teaching me how to be honest. Because he's like, be honest. I already know what you're gonna think. I knew what you were going to be thinking 2 weeks ago when you didn't even know you was gonna be in this situation thinking what you're thinking. So
Right.
just go ahead and say what you need to say. I'm a big boy. I can take it. I can handle it. Just give it to me. And just people will try to hold in and be so angry at everybody else to where they're like, I'm just angry at the world. No, you angry at God. Just tell him he is not going to strike you down. Now
Right.
I know what our elders tell us. Don't question God. Don't say nothing about God. But if I'm not questioning him, how am I supposed to learn? He
Right.
said ask, right?
He
Ask.
did. He
He said
did.
seek. He said find. All those things require a question.
Right.
If I'm finding something, where am I looking? If I'm seeking for someone, how long am I supposed to be? What am I seeking? If I'm
Right.
asking, I got to ask a question. So somebody got to say something. I can't just be sitting here like, okay, Lord, like, what you want? Well, I'm supposed to be asking. Asking what? What do you need to ask me? Well, I'm supposed to be seeking. Seeking what? What are you seeking after? Me? Righteousness, peace? What you seeking after?
Right.
You got to ask the question. And so I'm glad that you was honest with God. And it's like, you know what? Okay, you telling me to choose joy, but why?
Mm.
Why am I choosing joy? I
Yeah.
don't feel joyful at this moment. I don't feel
Right.
taking my world away from me. Like,
Yes.
everything has been stripped down. Like, what you mean? Choose joy. I don't know how to choose joy. Don't even know if I want to know about joy.
Man.
Why is she here at this moment?
Right.
But just being honest with yourself. And that's what I love when it comes to writers. It's like, don't try to relate to the crowd because everybody in the crowd is not your audience.
That's right.
Ask God for who am I speaking to? Who is this book for? And even if you're writing it and you're like, your goal is, I'm going to be a New York Times bestseller, keep that goal. But if that one book is for that one person, then you've done what you needed to do because
Right.
you never know what those words are doing in that person's life that can
So true.
completely transform somebody's life and you just written a book. And that's why I always tell people, we don't want to put sales aside because this is a business and you want to make the money. But if you're writing a book solely just for sales, you're never going to reach anyone.
Right.
Because as soon as somebody say, well, what's your book about? And they're not interested, you're going to get upset because you're going to feel rejected. But your
Hmm.
purpose is to stand in boldness and in confidence in your voice and say, hey, you dealing with grief? I have the map in choosing joy that can
Right.
help you through that grief. That can help you see joy in the midst of pain, in the midst of grief. And today might not be a good day, but in the midst of it, at the end of the day, you can still choose joy regardless. Like joy is
Right.
not something that can come 1 minute and then it's far fetched the next. It can be a continuous thing, but you have to choose it every day.
That's right.
You have to choose it every day. Like people dealing with depression, that some things they have to, like you said, I have to work things out with the therapist. And then some things the therapist is like, okay, but I'm gonna put this responsibility back on you. Now we talk, but what you gonna choose to do when we're not talking? You still
Right.
gotta be able to choose, to do what you need to do every day. So that's good. So y'all, the link to choosing joy is going to be in the show notes. So go ahead and get the book, choose joy, choose peace, whatever it is, choose to have a stable mind, choose to
Yes.
have a good conversation with people that's worth having conversations with. Make a choice every day because you're really making choices whether you think you are or not.
Right.
You're making choices your whole day is completely filled with choices. Now, whatever choice you choose determines whatever consequences or reaction you're going to get, but you're making a choice, period. So at least choose joy and go get Stephanie's book. on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and choose joy. Okay. Now let's talk about TBN. You say you have a project that you are partnering with TBN. So how did that all come to play?
So I knew some people that knew some people, and they were
Okay.
just like, "You should reach out to them." And I'm like, "No way!" I was like, "I'm not ready for that." You know how the devil gets in your head, right? So I did. I just sent them an email. Some people may see it pop up on their Facebook. It's just like this ad. It comes up and it says, new authors, you want to publish your book, that type of thing. But me, I already had published books, so like I wasn't really interested in like giving them the book to, you know, turn it over and let it be all theirs and all that stuff. I wasn't into that. So they were like, well, that's good that you are a new author. Hey, how about we have a collab, we work together, and you let us publish 2 of your books. So I was like, okay, cool. So we came up with a title, and I was already in the process of working on Jesus is the Way.
Okay.
So that is my next book that I'm working on, and that should be finished by September the 29th, 2025. So
Okay.
I'm working on that, and then I'm going to do a devotional with them with my husband. He's a preacher at
Okay.
a church in Hopkinsville, McCarroll Hill Baptist Church, where their pastor is Pastor Vice Killebrew. And he is a great man of God. We're going to work together and collab on that, and we're going to do the devotional. The devotional is going to take a little bit of time. So we're trying to set up and web a few dates so that we can, you know, help that process run as smoothly as it can. But also with signing and working with TBN, I will be on radio show. They're working out to where I will be able to do a few interviews on TV. And then they're trying to do where you'll get so many ads that'll pop up on TV or whatever you choose. A lot of people do social media, but wherever you want it to be, which will be through them and their network. So I'm really excited. Me, you know, second guessing myself could have cost me. So I'm really glad that I
Mm-hmm.
went through
Mm-hmm.
with it. And that's another thing I just want to tell everybody: don't say you can't do it. Don't feel like because you see all these celebrities that you feel like, oh well, that can't never be you, because it can be you. You know, we use our tongue sometimes in such a negative way and say things that just pull us down to make us believe that we could never do something. But
Mm-hmm.
you keep being positive, you keep uplifting yourself and speaking and telling yourself you are going to do that, you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You're definitely going to do it. So I'm excited about TBN. I can't wait to really get that rolling. Hopefully in the next month, it'll really be rolling for me. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about TBN.
Well, congratulations to you, and then keep the
Thank
voices
you.
posted so we can shout you out and support you and things like that. But I'm with you on
Yes.
that. Don't dumb down what God is saying. You know what
Right.
God said yes to. If He said yes, it's really done. Like at this
Right.
point, it's really all you need to do is just be like, okay, what's the plan? What we doing? Left or right? Front or back? Where am I going? I go to the Potter's House, and one thing that I love that Bishop Jakes had shared with us is about his book, "Woman Thou Art Loose." I thought that book was actually published in a publishing house, but it
Mm,
wasn't. He self
mm,
published that book because when he put that book out, he kept getting a bunch of no's. Everybody was like, in that during that time, nobody's gonna listen to no man ministering to no woman in this woman ministry book. Like, no, it's not gonna work. And he
mm.
got no after no after no after no after no. So he was like, you know what? I'll just publish it myself. That turned into a 30-some-year-old ministry.
Yes.
He just, you know, I want to say not pass the baton because really, Pastor Sarah was in her own ministry, her own right, but really just kind of
Right.
gave the reins over to her and saying, hey, now you take it further than, your ministry is a woman ministry, so now we just gonna pass it along. And
Right.
just to see that came from a book that somebody said no to. And I can only imagine those publishers now that's like, dang, I should have got on that book.
Yes.
Now it's gone, and he has all rights to his book, which birthed out into the ministry. And that's why I always tell people your book is just a business card. It is a key to a door.
Right.
You have to, people are like, I'm trying to get this door open. Well, you're supposed to wrote that book like 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Still talking about writing this book. And my
Love
friends,
it.
they laugh at me because people come to me like, I'm an inspiring author. And they were like, please don't say that to her. And I'm like, inspiring to do what? Inspiring in what time? When you gonna inspire to complete it? Like, what we talking about? Like, how long are you gonna be in the inspiring realm? Like,
Right.
you gonna be there forever? Like, what we doing? So I'm like, just say you kind of you getting there, whatever you need to say. But that inspiring
Right.
word is like a trigger, and it's like, don't do it, because I don't want to even sit here with the conversation and you like, I need to, and I got all this. Let's get it done.
Do it.
Like
Do
you
it.
said, you could have talked yourself out of something because you seeing the big names, but they weren't big name all the time.
Right.
Somebody knew somebody that knew somebody that may have helped them.
Right.
So you don't never know what doors God has for you. You just gotta, when they open it, he's saying, go walk through it. And then, like one of my friends, she always tell them, walk through the door, let God handle the logistics.
Right.
You just need to take
That's
the step.
good.
You just need to take the step. You just need to give the yes. And yeah, it may be big, it may be huge, because TBN is a big stage, a big stage that has, people may have placed standards on. But if God is saying, this is where I want you to be, this is where I want you to be. And that's
Right.
just where it's going to be. So I congratulations again
Thank
on
you.
that. And when it goes, roll with it. Roll with it. Go
Yes.
with God. I say this, go with God no matter what. So even if it's something where you're like, okay, God, what we doing? Are we doing? Maybe let's go over here. And he's like, no, I need you to stay right here. And if he say stay and they like go, I know I'm staying. Be like Moses.
Right.
If you don't go with me, I'm not going.
Amen.
So, because I'd rather be here with him and then go where you at and then gotta come back and he's like, you back? Oh, okay, because I told you to stay right here and you went on
Right.
further. Like just stay. Because sometimes we'll get caught up in the excitement, like, yeah, I'm going, the
Yeah.
moment, especially when you've been waiting and you've been praying and
Mm-hmm.
fasting and you've been waiting, you've been praying and fasting in reverse. And you're like, it's there. And God's like, okay, but I still need you to be mindful of your steps.
Right.
Just take it one step at a time, but just do what God has called you to do, no matter what. So we left off on giving encouragement to that inspiring author.
Okay, so I would suggest any author to pray and seek God for direction. I also feel like number one, it is important to be organized. You really need to organize how you would like for things to go. So a lot of people may say, hey, I can organize this in my head. This, and this is how I want stuff to go. I suggest that you write it down. Write down the vision, make it plain. I feel like you should write everything down so that you can see it. To me, it just does something to me when I can see what I really want to
Mm-hmm.
accomplish and my goals. Like it does something big to me when I can see it, the pencil to
Mm-hmm.
the paper. So I would definitely suggest that. And find some form of like I said, our web. You suggested brainstorming. There's several things
Mm-hmm.
authors can do. Some people, like the brainstorming, they literally just keep a pen and pad and write down stuff, like you said, all throughout the day. A lot of my author friends, they do that, and that really, really helps them. I think it's a great idea. You need to figure out what is a good method for you and stick to it. Always write things down. Organization, like I said, that's the biggest thing for me, and that's what really helped me because once your mind gets going on one thing and you're set to doing that thing, if you don't have organization, your brain's
Right.
gonna hurt. Like I'm telling you, you're gonna be crazy. So you have to organize your thoughts. You have to organize how you're going to do things, how you're going to plan stuff out, and how you want your
Mm-hmm.
book to be. And that all requires, to me, some type
Mm-hmm.
of notes, some type of pencil to the paper. Some people like to organize stuff on this one website. It's called like Readsy, I think. It breaks it all down how you can um, you know, put everything in certain spots. What I mean, like if you have brainstorming for like your introduction, your acknowledgments, your first chapter, second chapter, like it breaks all that down and it shows you how a book
Right.
should look. And then you just plug your little ideas or, whatever you have in
Mm-hmm.
that spot. And then it helps you like
Mm-hmm.
organize your book. So some people do have like little writing prompt things that they go to that help them, insert information so they don't
Mm-hmm.
forget stuff. I am old school. I like a pad
Mm-hmm.
and paper because I feel like sometimes when like you say you want to write this, then you go ahead and type it. Then you realize, okay, well, what I put in paragraph 1, I really want to move it down. Yeah, it's pretty simple to just move it down. But like me, my brain don't work like that. I have to write it down, rewrite
Yeah.
it, do it a couple of times until I'm just like, okay, that's it. So that I really suggest that. Make sure that you're
Mm-hmm.
organized. Prayer is the
Mm-hmm.
first thing. Make sure you pray. Make sure you're being led by God to do this. Make sure this is, something that you're serious about, and then start organizing things. Without organization, it's going to be a wreck. So you want to make sure that you're
Mm-hmm.
organized.
And I love how God just comes on here and just confirms everything. Because that is what I say all the time is please pray. Don't be out here doing stuff and just
Yes.
be trying to create stuff just because you see somebody else to do it. It is a method to this. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? When God has pulled you into this creative
Yes.
space or pull you into becoming an author, he has downloaded into you everything that you need to say.
Right.
And a lot of people, you
Right.
may be putting stuff out here that God is saying, you haven't even dealt with that yet. Why is you putting this out for the world? So when they start nitpicking at it, you're like, I feel attacked. Well, I didn't tell you to say that. So
Right.
you need to be mindful of what you need to say, how you need to say it, or if you need to say it at all. And so
Right.
like you
Right.
said, prayer
So
is the
true.
main thing. And I love that because sometimes you be saying stuff to people and you be like, is this me or is it you, God? Like, are you really speaking through me? And God's like, you saying and a lot of stuff that I'll be saying just sitting here on this podcast. And I'm like, yep, mm-hmm, said that, did a whole episode on
God is
that one.
good.
Yep.
Yes.
And it's because that's
Right.
what needs to happen. Prayer is first and foremost through everything. If you ain't talking to God, then who you
Yes.
talking to? Because please don't
Right.
talk to yourself.
That I'm scared if you
Yeah,
ain't.
please don't talk to yourself because we ain't good to be talking to ourselves. And then Satan does like conversation, so he will talk. So you don't want to be
Yes, he will.
talking to anybody, like really talk to God. So I'm thankful for that encouragement. And I pray that people hear what you have said and that, yes, it's a lot. It's a lot writing a book. It's a lot to take time out of your life to set aside to create a book and then put it out there for the world to critique or receive however it lays on them. But to do what God has called you to do, that's the main thing. That's the main goal.
That's right.
And he
That's
is the
right.
best person to help you write. He has the number one best-selling book to date.
Yes.
And it's
Amen.
never came off of number one. No matter how much it's criticized, no matter how much it's pulled from left to right, misinterpreted, handled any kind of way, God is the number one bestseller author to
Right.
date.
Yes, he is.
And so if you're going to get information from anybody, it's from him. We're two authors here together that have published books. And, you know, it's all been because of God. I have not been able to do anything that I'm doing. These products that are behind me, all of this t-shirt, all of this company is all of him. Because honestly, I was like, I'm not going to help the people. I'm not here to be. I don't want to human with the humans. I just don't. I want to be in my own little area. I'm good. You know,
I like that.
oh, I'm not. I'm just trying to stay over here with my little lamp trimmed and just making sure I'm getting the glory. I ain't trying to deal with the people. I'm not. But God was like,
Right.
no, come on out. Come on out. And
Mm-hmm.
because
He
New Voice Books was
will.
supposed to be my publishing company for myself. And my friends like, stop saying that. And I'm like, well, it's the truth. I was not coming out here to be publishing nobody's books. I was not. I was not trying to do that. Like I was on Clubhouse before I came to YouTube. And not to say that I didn't know that I was not coming to YouTube because God was prepping me. God preps me. So he does this thing where like a year or two from now, we'll be prepping for something that I may be doing now. And I'm like, God, why am I doing this? Don't worry about it, just do it. And I'll just be on a go. And then when he said green light, go. And I'm like, but I don't. He's like, yeah, you do. You have everything set up. Logo, everything, ready to go. Just put it up there.
It's all
Everything
there.
set up. Just do it. And it's all because when you say, God, use me, and you pray and you ask God to use him, for you to be used by God, what do you think he's going to do? You are asking him to activate you.
He's definitely gonna do it.
You're asking for him to activate you when you ask him to use you. And that activation is going to come with some processes. So don't think you're going to be
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, well, I'm in the background and now I'm in the front. We ain't having no Dave and Ruffin and these are the temptations type situation. You're going to have to go through the process. And becoming an
Yes.
author is a process. It when you're on the other side, it's like, oh, you got a book, you an author, and everybody clapping and everybody all this and the other, but you don't
Uh-huh.
know what I had to labor through to get here. You
Mm.
don't know what I had to like. I wrote my latest book, Marriage Conversation with God, in a time where my marriage is being challenged. My marriage is being tore down. And I'm like, you telling me to, write about power of agreement? I don't even be liking him sometimes. I don't even want to agree. I'm trying to agree with you. So why am I talking about this? He said, write it. But it
I love
ministered
it.
to me because it's like you having me to put something out where I'm like, wait a minute. We ain't even there right now. We ain't even there. Like he was like, yeah, but I'm building. Even like the reflection of me, I'm like, no, I don't want to talk about none of this stuff. I don't want to go down the road. I don't. I don't want to go down this road. And then he would bring something up, and I'm like, that didn't happen. He was like, yeah, it did. Let me break it down. I'm like, oh, it did. That was buried. That was buried like it was dug up like bones. So take time with God and allow him to process you. Allow him to prepare you to get to that place of wanting to write. Because you gotta want to do
Yes.
it. I wasn't what I wasn't in therapy, but writing was my therapy during a time in my teenage years where I was kind of feeling like I was all over the place. I had to write down my feelings, and I'm a raw writer. When I'm writing down my feelings, I just write. I don't. And when I say raw, I'm not making sure nothing is grammar corrected, punctuation correct. I'm just writing what comes to my mind. It's pouring out my heart, and I just got to get it
Right.
down. And sometimes I go back and look, and I'm like, "Ooh, I was going through it right there." But I could see on the other side, like, oh, okay, well, the conversation kind of got a little better, like, 6 months down the line. But I had to get those things out. So I can attest to writing being a healing tool for you to pour out. And so it's just, just make sure. I don't know. I keep getting brought back to here, but just make sure that you're praying and you are really asking God, what do you have for me to do? What is it that you want me to say? What is it that you want? Who
Right.
am I? Who am I writing to? Why am I writing to them? And then that way that person can know when that book hits that stand or when you start to advertise your book, even your book cover should speak to that person without your words being on there. If your face, no words was on that
Right.
cover, it should speak to them. They should already know, like, okay, this book is going to be about something. This just off your
Right.
cover. And if it can't speak to you, then it's not speaking to them. And some people say, "Well, I wrote the book. I understand
Absolutely.
what it is, what it's saying, but you understanding it and your audience understanding it is two different things." Because if you're writing
Yes.
it just for you to understand, you might as well just have a conversation with yourself. Ain't no need to write a book.
Amen.
You talking to you.
You're right.
You
You're
talking
right
to
about it.
you. But if it's the map, if it's the blueprint to help somebody get to the other side,
Right.
that is what you should do. And that's one thing I told my client. She was struggling to write because her book is a heavy book. It's talking about the things that she
Right.
endured in her childhood. It's talking about how she experienced her parents. And a lot of times you get older and you get on the hillside of it and you're like, well, I mean, this is what happened, but you kind of get a more understanding of those people in your life then than you did when you were in it. And so now you have to
Right.
speak beyond them to be like, okay, I have to talk about this situation to help this person, but I have to get beyond them when it comes to me putting this product out, when it comes to me putting this book out, because somebody needs to know how to deal with these type of people. Because these people in my life was my parents. But this may be a sibling, this may be a husband or wife, it may be somebody else, and you got to be able to get past it. And one thing I told her, I said, if somebody was walking the earth looking for the map to their healing, and your book was what it was the map, and you had the opportunity to give it to them, you knew that they were looking for this map. Would you hold it or would you give it to
Mm-hmm.
them? Because the map is life or death for them. It's not, we don't really have to, we don't realize how impactful our words are because we thinking that, oh, I'm just writing a book. No, you are helping somebody choose life or death. Like they are
Right.
literally,
That's so
and
true.
it's not like they're going to commit suicide, but they may just be a person where it's like God is asking, calling them out, and they're like, no, I'm just going to stay in the background and I'm just going to serve, and I'm just going to be back here. Or
Yep.
nobody has ever, you know wanted to hear my voice. And I say to you, don't call yourself the black sheep of the family. You just the called out one. Because you do
Right.
have some that say I'm the black sheep, and the black sheep go to the back. They don't come to the front. Because who wants to look at the black
Right.
sheep? You got a whole field of white, and then you got this one black sheep, and then why? Well, what's happening with him, with her, and them? And then it's always a
Right.
question. And who wants to always be questioned? Well, why you like this, and why you can't do like everybody else? I am the called out one, and the one who's called out
Right.
will never be
I
crafted.
like
I'm
that.
sorry, I just can't do it. And you have some people say, well, you think you better is the goal. Better is the goal, right?
Right.
I'm supposed to think better
Right.
because I'm going to be better. That's the goal. And so we have to be the kingdom scribes that God has called us to be. Like a scribe was very important back in the biblical days. Scribes are still
Mm-hmm.
important today. Who do you think records the things in
Yes.
your court documents, and in the White House, and different, all documents have to be scribed. Somebody has to be there to listen and to write and to put these documents into
Right.
place. These documents, there's no AI system that's doing this. This is a person. A scribe put out a
That's
decree
right.
in the land that could not be changed. So scribes were connected to the king. They were close to the king. They had to hear all things, write all things, record all things. We wouldn't have the Bible if we didn't have scribes. So we have
Right.
to be led of God and allow ourselves to do what God says to do. And I say allow ourselves because I had to learn that we have to come into agreement with what God is saying to do. He can say it all day long. It can be prophesied all day long. You could be grandmama and them and girl, you need a boy, you need to. And okay. And you going right at that back door because you tired of hearing.
Right.
But you have to come into
Right.
agreement with what God has said about you and then allow him to do it. Because we can block it all day long
That's right.
and be stuck. So you got to choose. Choose ye this day. Are you going to be stuck or you going to serve? And serve it and get that book done.
That's right.
So how can the people connect with you, Stephanie? Besides, I know Amazon, but how can they connect with you on social media, or just connecting with you in any other way, like interviews, anything like that?
Okay, so my email is probably the best way, but I also do have social media. I have Facebook. A lot of people message my personal page, which is okay, but I do have a business Facebook page. It's called Fashion and Faith, Live and Enjoy. You can feel free to message that as well. On my business page, I mean, on my personal page, I check that one just about every day. I try to check my business one once or twice a week, depending on what all I got going on. But the email, I check my email every single day, and that is Stephanie Graves 71 at gmail.com. I check that every single day, so that will be the best way. But I am listed on social media again. That Facebook business page is Fashion and Faith, Living and Joy, and you'll see a picture of me and then some of my shirts that I have designed, and you'll see my books and several other things that I have accomplished on that page. And then my personal page is Stephanie Graves Mumford. You can feel free to message that. You will also see my phone number down below. I do text, I do email, all of those things. So whichever way is comfortable for you is fine with me.
And they come to the personal to see if the business person is real. That's why they come to the personal, because it's like, okay, yeah, you real polished over here, but let's go over here and see what's going on, because a lot of people will be one way in business and another way in personal, because they're thinking, oh, they not, they are, they gon'. I have people come, I'm like, just go to the website. Well, I cannot talk. Go to the website. That's why I got all that stuff. I paid money for this website. Go to the website and get what you need, and then we can talk after there. But yeah, and I learned that, oh, they just coming over here to see, like, is she really about what she real? That's all that is. So we're gonna stay connected with Stephanie, y'all. Okay, so when she go on TBN, she gonna come back. Just know the New Voice Books had her first. Okay, TBN. All right. Okay. Just know
I love it. I
New
love
Voice
it.
Books had her on her first TBN. Okay. So just y'all might want to figure something out, okay? But we had them first. So Kingdom Scribes, as always, I love you guys. The Author's Corner is back, okay? So we're gonna have a few episodes running out. I hope y'all caught up on those other ones, because there was a lot of content that we had talked about. So we need to secure our legacy. Don't be thinking y'all have writing books, just writing books. These are assets, these are legacies that you can pass down. You need to be securing these things and making sure that if you pass on, it passes on, that it's not just stuck with somebody else or in a box in somebody's garage. So, go ahead and catch up on all the other episodes. As always, you know that you can learn more about New Voice Books at nvpublishingco.com. We have all of the pricing and book publishing information there on the website. So that way you can learn more about New Voice Books and what we can offer you. We also have a Kingdom Shop. So you can go in there and check out all the products in the Kingdom Shop. Join our loyalty program. Y'all be slipping on that, man. I'm telling you, y'all need to get you some points so you can get some little discounts off. I'm telling you, I'm trying to help y'all. I done put it front face on the website. Y'all still missing it, so I'm just gonna help y'all out. I mean, y'all want to pay full price, then your girl ain't mad. But hey, I want to help you out. I love y'all. So go on the Kingdom Shop. Sign up for the loyalty program. That loyalty program does apply to book publishing packages as well too. So go on there, check it out, sign up. And then, as always, keep writing, keep shining, keep standing in boldness and in confidence behind your voice. I love you guys. Until next time, be blessed.